Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. Thank you, Council, for the work that you have done. It's greatly appreciated. I think that we have once again, we are making some progress in the right direction. And so, it may take us a little time to get there, and we are not where we want to be, but we're not where we used to be. So, I'm going to address a few issues, Spanish versus English. Yes, first of all, thank you for the advertisement regarding the Mayor's Cup. Mayor's Cup is the 28th and 29th of this month. No, it's not in Spanish, this is true. But for some odd reason, it don't stop the Spanish-speaking people from attending that event, because it is now an event, okay? We have sponsors, and we have everybody come. I think, how many people did we have the last time, approximately, as far as players? Over 1,000? Yeah, it's an event. And so, but the thing about it is also, let me make sure that this is clear. Mayor's Cup is not just the Spanish-speaking people. There are other people who can participate as well. It is a fantastic event. I am extremely proud of it. I'm extremely proud of the fact that what the team does to put it together. And I'm also extremely proud of our sponsors who support what we're trying to do. I want to basically point out for Alderwoman Drewinski that, yes, she puts her notices in Spanish, and she also brings up quite often the possibility of putting other things in Spanish where we can. We have supported the community, and we will continue to support the community. And I think that as far as this particular administration is concerned, this is probably one of the most diverse administrations that we've seen in a long time here in the city of Harding. We have representation from all walks of life here in this administration. And once again, I'm not proud of it. We are proud of it. So, now, as far as Facebook is concerned, and social media, y'all got to take, those who have problems with Facebook or whatever's going on with Facebook, you got to take that up with Mark Zuckerberg, okay? And if you got a problem with what's going on in Google, you can take that up with whatever I can't even pronounce the Russian name. You can take that up with them. We don't control Facebook. We don't control Google, we don't control YouTube, we don't control any of those social platforms. We only can control the things that we can control. If somebody, it's funny because, freedom of speech is a real funny creature. Because one's freedom of speech is okay, but another's freedom of speech is not. You have the ability to say what you want to say, but then others don't have the ability to say what they want to say and do what they want to do. And that's the American dynamic. That's our experiment. That's the thing where we the people, in order to form a more perfect union. That's the experiment that we have, is that we have competing interests as far as what the law says. We have competing interests as far as what our rights are. And sometimes my rights might infringe on yours, yours might infringe on mine. There's a balance there. And we have to learn how to do that. But the one thing that we can do, regardless of what the First Amendment says, because there's this one thing that's not in the Declaration of Independence, and it's not in the Constitution. I was about to go as far as the Magna Carta. Is civility. Civility isn't written in any of that. And some of the biggest problems that we're having have nothing to do with what is or is not legal, or even what it is or is not right. Because, there's not a world where everyone agrees on every single thing. But the ability to be civil with each other is extremely important. That is what separates us. That is what distinguishes us. And that is the part that's not written, that for some odd reason we have the most difficulty dealing with. So whether it is on any of the social media platforms, like I said, we can't control that. I hope that some of you who are in the audience and also those who watch by video pay attention to our first meeting of the month where we give the staff reports, because those staff reports are chock full of information. You know, at times I may hear people say something regarding the city, like unsolved crimes and things of that nature. And I'm scratching my head because I'm saying, well, the police department just gave a report on the whole thing, you know. And so that to me means that maybe nobody's really listening or paying attention. But whether you choose to pay attention or not is entirely up to you. But the information is available, and I'm proud of the team for doing the work that they do, and I'm proud for how they have advanced themselves as far as the reports are concerned. And those reports are only getting better. And for those who don't walk in the room looking at us with what they call a jaundiced eye, you can see that some of those things are happening and the city is moving forward. And these people over here are working like never before. So that's what happens with that. Now, a little story. I like a little story. So why did the mayor use a building for a dispensary and take it away from another company that was using that building? You know, this is the stuff that honestly that the public really doesn't know. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't tell you. And I'll explain to you why I don't. Because if I told you every single thing that was going on in the previous administration, we'd be here for the next 4 years. We really would. When WGN and Bill Bradley came in 2019 and first presented the boxes that were all stacked up in the basement, that was all over the place, okay, I was hoping that people would pay attention and see the condition that your city was in. When I tell people that we were $164 million in debt, I was hoping that grown-ups would say, that's a big number, you know, and that's not the type of number that you just get rid of in a year or 4 years. That's, unfortunately, that is debt that is going to outlive probably everybody in this room. Okay, God willing and the creek don't rise, that's what's going to happen. Because $164 million in debt for a municipality that has a 52% tax collection rate and 35% of its money is being taken by the state comptroller's office, that makes a heck of a difference. And I'm thinking that people who say they love our city would not just go off of their emotions, but would also go off the facts. Now let me give you a fact. Tires R Us, which is where which is a business where the now tax-paying, okay, law-abiding cannabis dispensary is going to go. When we came in, we found out that Tires R Us was actually paying taxes, not paying taxes, paying rent to somebody else. It was a city-owned building. But Tires R Us wasn't paying us, they was paying it to somebody else. Who were they paying it to, man? You might ask that question. Where were they sending the money? Well, you got to ask them. Because we weren't getting it, and we did not have a valid lease with them, because there was no lease that was agreed upon by the city council. So somebody was occupying a city building. They were operating a business out of that city building. Okay? The city was not getting paid for them operating that city building, and they were paying that money to someone else. Some mysterious person out there. And they weren't paying taxes. But they're not the only one. They're not the only one. This story can be repeated over and over again. When we got in here, we had a box full of keys. Those keys belonged to homes, single-family homes that were owned in the city. Those homes were being rented out to people, not by the city, by random mysterious people. So if they could find say for instance, a single parent with children and get them to agree to go ahead and move into this house and pay them in cash, they got paid. Now, imagine doing that not one time, but 10 times, 20 times, 50 times. And you're paying, say for instance, $1,000 a month. That's what was going on when we got the box. Okay? We didn't come back to you and tell you about it, we just stopped it, am I right? We stopped it. Every time we found out about it, we stopped it. There are other commercial properties. And some of you might have heard of commercial property on 147th Street where Bob Watson is. That man came up in here talking about how the city was treating him wrong when he was squatting on city property. And the city moved to get him off the property. Okay? But wait. He sued us. He sued the city of Harvey for trying to put him off of the property that he was squatting on. He got a restraining order. Got a restraining order against the city because the city was trying to put him off the property that he was squatting on. So then we had to go through legal gymnastics for years and years and years. And these are things that didn't take place, didn't happen during this administration. They were already in place prior to this administration. But even though they were in place prior to this administration, it seemed like nobody had anything to say.
Dumping oil in the sewers?
Yeah, he's dumping oils and dumping oil. Well, he wasn't just dumping oil over there at Bob Watson in the sewers. He was also dumping oil at American Kitchen on 154th and right off of Dixie. And he dumped so much oil that it blocked up the sewers. Am I correct? And the state had to come out.
Chop, chop.
Well, we're not going to go in because we'll be here forever. And the simple fact is, you know, there were people making money off of this city by not having people pay their proper taxes. There were people that were making money off of this city by not having them follow the law and follow the process. I have several friends that have said that they would hate to go downstairs in the building inspectional services because if somebody calls them out of the line, that means they're going to have to pay for something. So that's what was going on in the city. And so with Tires R Us, what we did was we found a viable business. a law-abiding, tax-paying, corporate citizen to come in, and we will receive property taxes and sales taxes from that business, which is what every city needs in order to run. The lights don't come on by themselves. And unfortunately, we don't have, as the comptroller said, we don't have $10,000 issues. We got $10 million issues. We're trying to still figure out what to do with the unpaid water bill that wasn't paid by the previous administration. We're still trying to figure out how to deal with that issue. We've gone through the, what's the name of, the Lightfoot administration, and now we're into the current administration. You see, I don't even keep with I don't even keep with the names. Johnson administration, to try to figure out how we can get that rectified. That's a $25–26 million issue. Okay, that's not about y'all bought new pens, so y'all got money. No, that's a $26 million issue. $164 million is hard to wind down. But that being said, I do agree. And that's the hard part that people can't understand. I do agree with some of the sentiment. I just try to be politically mature about it. But it doesn't mean that I don't agree. I'm with you. Whoever said what they said about the artists, I'm with you. Okay? And I've been putting foot in back as far as the artists are concerned. Artists aren't just the same as just as simple as saying, hey, look at this, see this? I wish it was. And can we do better? Yes. But once again, we was 5 years behind, nobody had anything to say. We're catching up, we're getting there, and we continue working on doing so. The fact that somebody mentioned Kasperik's name means that we haven't audited it. They said it in the public comment. We haven't audited it. The auditor is working on the audits. And as soon as we get it done, we'll have a meeting, and I really hope and pray that we have just as much of a crowd here when it happens. We have not, and I'm going to say this again, there was 3 things, and I don't know what the 3 things were. We have not brought up the tax status for Chappelle Hooks. Chappelle Hooks got up there herself and flexed and said that she didn't pay her taxes. We didn't say that. That was not said from here. And honestly, at the end of the day, as far as the dais is concerned, we're not going to say anything or address that. And then as far as Ryan's sexuality, brother, you need to go talk to somebody. Because if you're that ashamed, you say you're prideful, then be proud of who you are. Plain and simple. Because we've never said anything about his sexuality. Absolutely nothing. But for some odd reason, that keeps coming out because that's a dog whistle to try to get the other people from the LGBTQ community to come on board and go and fight against an issue that's not an issue. The reason why Ryan is an issue is because of Ryan. It ain't got nothing to do with sexuality. So we've never addressed that, and I don't necessarily appreciate that, you know what I'm saying, those words being put in my mouth, and I addressed the issue 2 weeks ago. My views didn't change. My views remain the same as far as the LGBTQ plus community. And they will continue to remain the same. So on that note, I will say Happy Pride Month, but also Happy Black Music Month too. Okay? So, that being said, go Shawty, it's your birthday, go Shawty. I'm wishing myself a happy birthday. And I just want to know, you know what, God has given me another opportunity to, as somebody said, go around the sun. I am, oh my God, ever so grateful. And I am ever so grateful for all of you. There's this movie that I like, that I really, really like. I'm not gonna say what the movie is, but in the movie, the gentleman is having his birthday party. And he's having his birthday party, and he says in his birthday party that all of you are here. And we may not have had a perfect relationship. And there are times that we didn't see eye to eye, and there have been ups and downs. But for this moment in time, we are together. And so, regardless of who you are and whether we agree or we don't agree on all of those things, I just want you to know that I love and appreciate you. Okay? And I appreciate that I'm here to look at each and every last one of you. Okay? Because yes, I'm going to go into it. God is an awesome God. Okay?
I'm waiting on that.
And I'm here to tell you, if it had not been for the Lord on my side, where would I be? And so, with that being said, if there's nothing else good for the order, the chair would entertain a motion.